Thank you guys. Thank you guys all for jumping on today, whether you're joining from your couch, you're joining from, your office, or you're joining from your car. I'm excited to have you on, and I'm thankful to have you with me today. Now, before we jump right into this, just want to give you guys a quick kind of who am I? So my name is Marysa Maggio, and I got into the industry, the insurance industry, 2 years after losing my mom. It was the biggest catalyst that kind of pushed me to life insurance. Now, I don't believe that anybody wakes up in the morning and is like, I want to be a life insurance agent when I grow up. And I know I definitely didn't. However, that being said, getting into this industry has truly changed my life. So I lost my mom when I was in college. Once I wrapped up college, I was looking for something that I actually wanted to do. Now, I had just gotten my bachelor's degree, and to be quite honest, I had an entitlement hat on, meaning like I thought when you came out of college, like you just went into this six-figure income earning, job like immediately. And I remember I had lived with my sister who's on this call, Christina at the time, and I had looked at her and I told her and I was like bawling, crying in tears, telling her I was a loser because I had graduated college and I was still working in a restaurant, bartending and serving tables. Now, that being said, I applied for some different positions. I really, again, didn't mean to fall into the life insurance space. Now, I applied to different positions. In applying at that time, it was Craigslist. I know, mind blown, right? But it was Craigslist. And the position, essentially, one of them talked about ability to grow, ability to be in a leadership position, and uncapped income potential. All three of those things were really important to me. I was like, well, let's check this thing out, see what it is. When going into that interview, I ended up becoming a life insurance agent, really not even realizing what it was. I was captive at that time. For those of you all that don't know what that means, captive means I only work with one insurance company. So that's really where I started my insurance journey. Now, in a captive model, or in the captive model that I was in, I learned so much there and I'm forever grateful for it. However, the model was very different than what we're looking at today. What I mean by that is we would be going to folks' houses and give them a no-cost benefit. And from that no-cost benefit, we are then going ahead and trying to sell them life insurance. Like, just hear that, right? Like, imagine that's you. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. When I was, 19, 20 years old, I could make sense of it. Um, you know, 2 years later, I really couldn't make sense of it. But more importantly, I didn't feel comfortable bringing people into that opportunity because I didn't feel like it was going to last long term. Now, when I got to that opportunity, they sold us on a lot of things. And you guys, if you're looking into life insurance, like being an agent, you're going to hear a lot of these things. And you want to almost like have your ears up, if you're hearing these things, because I wish in a way that I had known, right? So let my hindsight be your foresight. I got started, I was at like a 30% commission. So 30%, we don't do that here. Like you will never be paid a 30% commission. So thank God for that. And they sold us on this dream of if you work here for 10 years, you'll have a book of business and you'll have residual income. So basically, you won't have to work ever again if you don't want to. Now, at the time that I was 20 years old, that sounded really cool and fun. However, in foresight, that's not how things always, play out. That being said, what kind of got me into, an IMO? An IMO is an insurance marketing organization, such as Family First Life. Well, I didn't come right over to Family First Life. I got started with a different IMO. I was no longer captive, and my comp went from a whopping, 30, 40% up to a 60%. At that time, I was really excited because it was the first time I had ever seen a lead. Okay. And we'll talk about that later on today. But at that company, they really just didn't support you unless, and all they did was talk about Family First Life. And they would have like calls about like why you shouldn't work at Family First Life. So by nature's default, psychologically speaking, I started looking into the company and I reached back out to somebody one day when I was having a tough day at that company. And I was like, hey, like, let's talk, basically. After I had already told him I'm not interested, I love the culture at the company that I'm at, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really how I got into the industry. So, guys, that's kind of my story, if you will. Now, that being said, I'm super thankful for this man right here. So, this is Sean Mike, President and CEO of Family First Life. Now, when Sean started Family First Life, one of the most unique things about what Sean was doing was he wasn't just starting a company, from something he had never done. He was an active agent in the life insurance industry. He was getting paid at a low comp. It didn't make sense to him. Like guys, life insurance companies are multi-trillion with a T dollar industries. Like if the economy all fell today, they're going to be the last one standing. Sean wasn't confused about that. Therefore, his goal was to have an army of men and women who have bigger bank accounts than any agents in the history of life insurance. That being said, Sean was still writing on his own personal pen when he opened this company. So talk about leadership, right? Most people would open the company, been in positional leadership. I'm important. I'm in control. That's not what Sean did. Sean genuinely wanted to show people like, hey, there's a better way that we can all get a piece of the pie, so to say, while the agents in this industry are still getting paid at a high level. So that was really important to me. So that's Sean. Now, FFL's growth chart. So as you guys can see, okay, 2014, that's the company's first full year, 22 million. I mean, you definitely don't see that every day. Now let's fast forward to 2024. You see that 800 million. Whenever we see a graph that's going on like, the up and up, it's typically a good thing, right? Like this year, we're definitely going to finish over $1 billion of issue paid life insurance premium, which is crazy. Now, there's alleged competitors out there with Family First Life, but if we added all of those competitors' numbers together, it still would not equate to that 800 million. That's not a biasy opinion, it's a factual opinion. So if you're sitting here and you're like, am I in a place where I can grow in the company? And there is a place to grow in the company. The answer is yes. And also, is the company or is the opportunity saturated? No. People are being born and passing away every day. Only 44% of American households have an individual life insurance policy. Actually think about that. So if you're like, am I capped? No, you're definitely not capped. Like the sky's like, we're only getting started here, guys. So that being said, if you're looking like, hey, am I in the right place? Like screenshot this graph and just be like, how much of that $1 billion now, in 26 am I going to be? Now, why FFL? These are pretty much the biggest things, again, that I would say perk your ears up if you're looking into other IMOs and you're looking at Family First Life. These are going to be the most competitive advantages, okay? So we're number one for all the top insurance carriers. So who pays us, right? Like who pays us? We don't get a check that comes from Family First Life. Well, we do, but that's on a bonus. But who pays you when you write a policy? You write a policy and Transamerica is going to pay you. You write a policy, Americo Financial is going to pay you. Mutual of Omaha, Aetna. These are all household names, guys. So we only work with A-rated companies. So you can bet they're definitely going to be making sure that you are getting paid, okay? So we're number one with all of the carriers that we work with, American Amicable. The list goes on. It really does. Now, that being said, being number one with all the carriers, yeah, you do have an advantage. You're able to work alongside the carriers. You're able to get to know them a bit more. And all in all, in business, it's all relationships. So like, don't take that lightly. The next thing would be leads. Our company does not make money when you buy leads. I'm going to repeat that. Family First Life, Solidity Insurance Group, Just Serve, Epiphany Finance, none of us make money when you buy leads. So this is not like a multi-level marketing scheme where you have to buy leads and we're going to make money off them. Guys, if you're on this call and somebody invited you on it, they invited you on it because they actually believe in you. So like, they're not trying to just make $1 off you. They want to help you. They want to help you get into a better situation. So guys, leads are essentially going to be the lifeline of this business, okay? We don't make money off of the leads. We want you to buy leads because we know that that's how you make money in this industry because we've done it. However, I want to be clear, we do not make $1 when you buy a lead. In my old company, whenever I bought a lead, or my agent bought a lead rather, so I had an agents buy leads, we had to pay a lead override. What that means is every lead that my agents bought, I also had to pay like X percentage of that lead cost in addition to. So like we don't do that here. We don't have any of this extra expenses. But we do definitely have leads. Now, training is only done here by the people who are actually selling and building their business at a high level. So if you're walking in here and you're like, I want to make sure I can work with people who are actually doing it, you're in the right place. We work heavily one-on-one with our agents, and every single person that we bring into this opportunity, we're going to meet you exactly where you're at. If you're giving us 100%, we're going to give you 100% back. But the second you start giving 20%, you can't expect everybody's 100%. But the training absolutely is there. Nobody woke up and knew how to sell life insurance. But the best thing about it is it's an acquired skill set that everyone's capable of doing. You don't need any like innate talent. If you did, I definitely wouldn't be here, to say the least. Bonus. So just as an example, we have producer bonuses and we have manager bonuses. So if you're building a team, you'll eventually hit a way to get a bonus. When you're personally producing, you will get a bonus, assuming you work your normal schedule. Last month, over 4.5 million only in bonuses, not commissions. 4.5 million was paid out in bonuses from Family First Life to the agent force last month. That is huge, guys. That is absolutely huge. There's no other company that has a bonus structure that would beat ours. And if you think there is after this call, I want you to reach out to me directly because I would challenge that. The next thing would be overrides, or I would say ability to build a business, day one. The best thing about walking into this opportunity is, I'm going to hit on this in a moment. You can decide, I just want to personally produce, kind of mind my own business, write personal production. The other way is, I want to build a team and I want to have overrides and I want to help people get where they want to go and not just focus on myself. Now, is there a wrong answer? Absolutely not. But an override essentially comes from you bringing somebody else into the opportunity, and we'll go a bit over more in that in depth in just a moment. Another huge thing about a competitive advantage here at Family First Life is we don't have a contract. Now, I'm going to just kind of give you guys a story of why that's important. At my prior IMO, before I came into Family First Life, I was the number 2 producer my first year, the number 1 producer my second year. That being said, it doesn't make me special. But when I wanted to leave that company due to ethics, morals, and just honestly the way I was being treated at that point in time, it just didn't make sense for me. I wanted to leave. But I couldn't just walk out the door because I signed a contract that I didn't read. Now, when I went to walk out the door, because I was still an independent contractor, what they did is they didn't allow me to write business with said companies. Any company I had worked with at that prior company, they didn't allow me to write business with that company for 6 months. Now, some people are like, oh, that's why I'm going to stay at this company that I absolutely hate because I don't want to take a 6-month pause with company ABC. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I came over here, again, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I can sell insurance, and that's something I'm not confused about. But when I came over here, it was really difficult for me to understand, hey, you can't write any of these companies, but quickly that thought process changed to, well, what company can I write? And there was 2 companies I wrote for 6 months. I got all my other codes back, and it's been game on since. So don't let 6 months hold you back. And I promise you, there's other carriers that you probably haven't written with. We'll find you one if you're in that situation. And last thing kind of right here in this slide is you own 100% of your business. This is huge. When I left my last IMO, every single one of my clients got a call that said, hey, John, you're client of Marysa Maggio, is that right? Well, actually, Marysa lost her license, which was not true, obviously, or I would not be here. Marysa lost her license, and we just have to replace you in a new policy. Now, why is that a problem? Well, first of all, those are my clients, therefore I should have owned that book of business, but I did not because I signed a contract. But also, we're putting those families in a tougher position. Like, if they're in the best situation possible, they're in the best situation possible. I never had my phone ring so many times. So here, guys, if you came in today and you left in a year from now, which I don't think you would, but if you did, you still own 100% of your business. No one's going to take your renewals. No one's going to take your, like, you own 100% of your business. And that is extremely important to know. So how do we get paid? This is what we all want to know. How do we get paid? There's a lot of ways we get paid. So direct carrier commissions. Again, you get paid directly from trillion-dollar companies like Mutual of Omaha, Americo, American Amicable, Transamerica, Corebridge, AIG, National Life Group, Fidelity, and the list goes on. I'm sure we've all heard of at least one of those. Carrier renewals. This was something that was very attractive to me about the business, is the renewals piece. What is a renewal? If I help John Smith with a policy today and John Smith's paying it, for the first year, yes, I'm going to get my advanced commissions and all that amazing stuff. However, after that year, I'm still going to get a percentage as long as John keeps paying his policy. As long as John has paid his policy and John has not passed on, I will continue to receive my renewals. So you want to think about it like every day that you help a family or every day that you're helping families, you're stacking your back end. Like you're stacking, like it's like you're putting money on your back end for like retirement or something, but it's don't think about it like retirement. That was a bad example. But you're building money on your back end and it's just going to start coming up as you've been in the business for, I always say in the 10th month, it gets fun because you start seeing those carrier renewals. Next thing would be producer bonuses. So producer bonus, FFL has an amazing producer bonus plan, which we're going to hit on in a moment. Carrier bonuses. A lot of our carriers, like Americo, they're getting ready to wrap up their bonus period. It ends at the end of November, and they do 10%. So if you issued with Americo $100,000, you're going to get a bonus that's 10% right before Christmas of 10 grand directly from the insurance company. And they're like, thank you for doing your job. We appreciate you. Amazing. Override commissions. Just like you have just like you have commissions as a producer, you would have override commissions when you're building your team. Override renewals, manager bonuses, all the way up to an integrity partnership. Now, how do agents get paid? So this is like, if I'm you, I'm screenshotting this because I want to understand, right? So this is how we get paid when we're writing our own personal production. So if a client gets a life insurance policy, and let's just say I help John with a policy, and his policy is exactly $100 a month. That's $1,200 in a year that John's going to pay. Now, the insurance company is going to pay me a total of that $1,200 in commissions. So how do we calculate the commissions? So we're going to take the client's annual premium times your compensation level, right? So let's just make it easy and call it 100%. And that's going to be your commission at that time. So they're going to advance you 9 months. They're going to say, Christina, we think you do amazing business, so we're going to give you 9 months advanced. Guys, this is the best and the worst thing about the business. Are you an adult? Can you show up? Can you be consistent? Because here's the thing. After those 9 months, that's when the renewals hit. So in essence, you're getting paid $900 on the front end, and then you'll be paid the remaining $300 after month 9. So when John pays his policy in month 10, I'm going to get $100. When John pays his policy in month 11, I'm going to get $100. When John pays his policy in month 12, I'm going to get $100. And boom, there's my 1,200, right? So that's a total of 900 in my account. The carriers pay out within about 72 hours, if not quicker. And the client's paying their premium and protected. So that's just one policy. How many of those can you write in a week? How many Johns can you find? Where's your activity at? So looking at just that example, average premium, just so everybody's aware on this call, for a life insurance policy is about $100. That's why we're using that here as an average. Now, we talked about override commission. So for the sake of this, we're using just easy numbers because I'm not good at math. And if I'm not good at math, you don't need to be good at math either to sell insurance, just so you know. So let's just say, you're over here and you're at 120% compensation level. Now you introduce this to John, your friend John, and John's like, hey, I think I might want to get started. Part-time, full-time, anytime, whatever it might be. And let's just say John is at 100% compensation level. The difference in between you and John is 20%. So every time that John writes a policy, you're going to get paid 20%. Now, you probably were helping John. You've probably been in communication with John. You're the person that John's looking to. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do here is help John also become independent, right? Like, guys, we're independent. You want to have a sense of independence. You don't want to always have that crutch on somebody. Your first 6 months, cool. After that, you're going to be rocking if you're following the system. But back to John. So You help your part-time agent, John, go out and John writes $10,000 of volume that month. So he's going to make his commission level, he's going to make his, let's just say he's at that 100%. He's going to get paid $7,500 directly from the insurance company. So like go John, right? He's doing it part-time, 10K. He's happy. He got paid 7,500. Now, because you helped John make the money, the insurance carrier is going to pay you the difference in between your compensation levels, that 20%, right? So you're going to get a check for $2,000 just for exposing John to the opportunity and helping John out. And guys, this is what it's about. It's about how many people can you help? So if you're looking at this and you're like, me and my friends could crush this, or I want to build a business. Like, this is the business with the lowest cost of entry. And like, as you can see here, just from a small example of John and how we get paid, right? It's very lucrative if you allow it to be. Now, it's up to you. We're not the kind of group or organization that's like, you have to build an agency to work here, because I've been a part of one of those too. But that being said, you can be an agent. Just write your own personal production and mind your business, so to say, right? We'll be there with you. We love you. Or you can decide, I want to build an agency. Hey, I'm just getting started, but I'm excited. I want to build this into a business. Like, I see a future here. This makes sense to me. Build an agency. Either way, it's up to you and we're there for you. Now, a question you should be thinking about is, well, what's my compensation level? How do I move up in comp? Now, I'm going to ask everybody screenshot this if you don't already have it. So this is essentially the compensation guideline. Starting contract, 80%. You'll see here at 85, you have to do 5,000 2 months back to back to move up. Or on the other side here, on the right side, you got to do 20,000 as a group. You and John are rocking it out. Do 20,000 2 months back to back. Boom, you're at an 85. So guys, it's about, I've always chased the comp guide on like, how do I get to all the way up here? Because guys, nobody can stop you except you, right? So it's like, if you're at an 80 and you want to get to the 145, if I'm you, I'm like, okay, what do I have to do to get to the 85? What do I have to do to the 90, right? Like, how do I get there, right? But keep this close to you and keep it in front of you. Monthly producer bonuses. So again, FFL loves to give out bonuses just for like saying like, hey, good job at doing your job. So taking a look at these, 20K in life volume, you see there, that's the first bonus bracket, if you will, of $650. So based off what you write in the month on your own personal pen, you're going to receive a bonus. There's also a 25% lead voucher on your production. It's a lead voucher in addition to the cash. And then every person that you bring onto your team, you'll see here, writer increase bonus. You add one writer and your team volume increases by 10,000, you're receiving an additional $500 on your bonus. So like, guys, like, utilize this. Again, screenshot this. Remember this when you're getting started. And then meet the team. So again, my name is Marysa Maggio, and I'm blessed to be on with you guys today. I've hit Hall of Fame, which means that you've issued over $400,000 on your own personal pen. 2 years, I'm an integrity partner, and I am the owner here of Solidity Insurance Group. Now we have Christina Maggio, owner of Epiphany Insurance Group, has been crushing it, building and helping other people really get where they want to go. We have Rami Hamadi, 4-time Hall of Fame producer and Financial Society agency owner. The three of us are out of Massachusetts. And then we have Miss Heather Robeson, 2-time Hall of Fame producer and agency owner of FFL Just Serve out of Texas. So we work East Coast to West Coast. It's like, wherever you are in the world, we're all virtually on Zoom together doing this thing together. Now, how do we serve our clients? One of the biggest or most important things that always made me feel comfortable was I don't have a license to lose money, lose my clients' money in any way, shape, or form. And that always just gave me kind of a peace of mind of like, you don't got to be perfect, so to say, but you got to just make sure you're putting them with the right product. So these are the products that we work around, guys. We work around whole life insurance, term life insurance, index universal life, health, and fixed index annuities. This is essentially our bread and butter, if you will. And this is what we're doing and helping and serving families with each and every day. So guys, we all look at these things and we're like, we all know we need them, but why are we not Like, why are we so hesitant to think like that it would work? Like, of course, people fill information out. They want whole life insurance or term life insurance or an index universal life policy for their retirement, or they want to put their money in a safe place with an FIA and make sure it's making money, or they just need some additional supplemental health insurance or a major health plan. That being said, how do we get in front of these people? We get in front of them using leads. Now, what is a lead? Guys, if you don't know what a lead is, it's super important that you rock with me right now. When I came in captive, we had leads, but we didn't have people who filled out forms that raised their hand and said, I want more information about life insurance. We had bait and switch leads. We had people that would send a request in for a no cost benefit. We would call them, we would go to their house, give them the no cost benefit, and then we would try to pitch them life insurance. God is good because we don't have to do that. So listen up. Leads are the bread and butter of our business. Leads are going to make sure that you can keep going to your family barbecues because they're not going to be like, Heather's just trying to sell me some insurance again. She has no one else to sell it to. So a lead is an information of a person that's inquired about getting life insurance. They've raised their hand in some facet and said, I want more information about this life insurance. Now, what are the main lead types that we work? We work a lot with veterans. Veterans are amazing to work with. They're great people, and in my heart, I'm like they genuinely deserve the best coverage. We also work with Index Universal Life, or an IUL lead is a very common lead that we use. Mortgage protection leads. Somebody wants to protect their home. If they die, they get sick, they get hurt. They want to make sure that the mortgage is covered. We do this in different facets in terms of call-in leads. We'll have people call in. Leads are also generated via social media, direct mail, Google search, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. We are literally have folks that are creating leads in all ways, shapes, and forms. And honestly, for me, the best part about it is I've never had to create or sell a lead a day in my life, but I love buying them because when you buy your leads, guys, you can be like, I don't want to buy leads. This is the multi-level. Again, we don't make money when you buy the leads, but you will make money if you buy the leads. If you don't buy the leads, you probably won't make money. Full transparency. That being said, it's about getting in front of people who actually want the information, and that's what a lead is. So, what are 4 keys to quick success here at Family First Life? Lead flow. Buy leads each and every week. You need new numbers to call each dial session. If you're getting on the phone and you're calling the same 20 people and think you're going to get a different result, you're not. Like, you're just not. Schedule. This is probably, if I could like highlight it and bold it and like make it like zoom in, I would. Set a consistent schedule. This has to be a non-negotiable schedule. If you are working a W-2 position, would you be able to say, these are my hours, these are the days and times I'm working? Here you go. You can expect to see me there. If not, don't put it on your schedule. Make a realistic schedule. It has to be non-negotiable. Because the second you start breaking your schedule, being self-employed is the same second that you are risking going to being unemployed, right? So like stay in that W-2 mindset of I have a schedule, I have to stick to it, I have to be on time. The third would be phone script. Get great. Get great. Flat like that. Get great at mastering the simple things. So master the phone scripts. Master your posture. The way that someone position. If I call somebody, I'm like, "Hi, is this John? Hey, John, this is Marysa. I'm getting back to you about the like I already got hung up on, right? Master your posture. John, this is Marysa getting back to you about the request you had sent in regarding that mortgage protection coverage for the property over on 123 Main Street. You remember that, right? Great. Posture, guys, it's like huge. Influxes in tone, in your pauses, in your script. Body, like all of these different things are just the small things in sales that if we can master, game over. And then communicating with your leader. Avoid struggles and pitfalls. Don't go through things you've already went through because you're too scared to ask for help. I've been that person. I'm like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to bother anybody. Guess what? You're going to end up bothering somebody, right? Who wouldn't have been bothered should you have just called them because you're not going to be able to probably figure that situation by yourself. So be in communication with your leader. Understand they're just there to help you. They don't make a penny until you make a dollar. So be really clear on that as well. And then some agent testimonials. So I'm going to hit here with Bree. We got Bree. Brianne K, she started with us in March, and her biggest month thus far, and I'm saying thus far because I know that she's about to blow the lid off this thing, 41,088 in a month. Before now you can see her testimony. Before getting licensed, she was working 70 hours a week to make ends meet in healthcare. She was looking for an opportunity where she could still help people, but she could grow and get a more of a performance-based salary. It's changed her life personally and financially. She's gained the ability to control her schedule, build residual income, serve families in a way that truly matters. And she appreciates the mentorship, training, and the systems that have helped her grow faster than she's ever imagined. Um, I'm so proud of Brianne and what she's doing. And she's just one example of many people who is killing it at this thing. We got Rose P here in the bottom left, biggest month so far. She started in August of 2025. August, September, that's like not even, she's not even 90 days in, right? It's crazy. She was a traveling sales agent up to as much as five for one appointment one way. So she had went from being, she had went through a divorce, went through personal struggles, becoming a single mom of three children. It's really changed her life in terms of being able to be there for her kids and also make sure that she's able to make ends meet. And I'm super excited for what the future is to hold for Rose. And then we got Leo here in the bottom right corner. And Leo has been with us since January 2025. And Leo's somebody that I look at, I'm just like, he's gonna start blowing the lid off this thing because he's got it really, really figured out and he's really honed in right now. And it's really exciting to see an agent go from here to here, right? So biggest month being with us, 27,427 in the month, guys. He's been licensed since January 2025. Before joining, he spent years in a call center within lead generation. In that time, he's never been a part of a culture like it is here. He knows we genuinely want everyone to win, even when we have no direct benefit from your success, just full transparency. And that alone speaks volume about the environment that this company's created. FFL is truly life-changing. There's no other opportunity out there that compares. And like these three people, again, love all three of them, but they're just three examples of folks that are doing well and bet on themselves and trusted the system and just ran with it. So all of this being said, guys, now get back with the person that invited you to this business overview meeting. And you're going to give them an A, B, or C. Okay, C is see you later. This isn't for me right now. And thank you for joining in and tuning in with me today, but that's okay. It might be for you later. So, hopefully see you later. B, I'm in, but I have some questions, perfect. Reach out to the person that invited you to this and I'll answer some questions too in just a moment. But B, you're in, but you have some questions. That's normal. Got it. And then I was like the A person. I was like, I'm all in. Send me the new agent requirements. Like, let's go. Let's get this thing started. Like, I'm in. I'm all in. So whatever you are, get with the person that invited you to this BOM.